What the fuck?
Oh, I know we're basically live right now. I just want to do one thing before we really get this started.
Okay.
It'll take 2 seconds.
Are you sure?
Yes. What? Oh, you know what we didn't do?
What?
Not gonna mess this.
We have to call each other.
Yes, we do.
All right. Oh, I didn't mean to hang up.
Thanks. You hung up on me.
I did. I was.
You hung up on me, man.
All right, I'm gonna mute this. Mute your computer.
I am.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm putting you on the charger right now. We're about to start this fucker. We could get this charging. All right, flux capacitor fluxing. All right.
Oh, flux capacitor. Oh my god, you must be rich.
I made it in my garage.
Well, then you're awesome because you made it in your garage.
How
do you have plutonium? Did I lose you?
No, you're there. Okay.
You're just like frozen.
I was just making sure everything's okay. All right, man, we're gonna start this fuck. All right, 3,
We're gonna
2,
start this fuck.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to BatYard's Finest, bringing you the finest of Batman, Superman, and whatever else we want to talk about in pop culture. I am Josh from BatYard Productions, and here I'm with my co-host, as always, if he wants to take away here.
How you doing? I'm Matt. How you guys doing? Nice seeing you all again.
Hi. Yeah, we're actually starting to get a flow for the show. So we'll be on time next time. We weren't too far off today, but it's okay. We have a lot of news, breaking news, which came out today. First off, well, I guess we'll go to the minor thing. There's a new Supergirl who's announced. I think who's announced to be in a new Flash film.
Mm-hmm.
I think her name. What's her name? Sophie. Do you know her name, Matt?
I believe it's Sophie, but give me 1 second.
So anyway, she's announced to be in the new Flash movie. Yeah, she's Sasha Callie.
Sophie.
I don't know. I knew it started with an S. I thought you were supposed to have this stuff open, Matt.
Well,
but anyway,
I was focusing on the other news.
Yeah. Well, that's the stuff I could just say off the top of my head. I don't really know anything about this actress. She's the first Colombian actress, first Latina Supergirl to be cast, and the first Supergirl to be in a motion picture since the 1980s with the original Supergirl, with that disaster of a movie, which I actually have never seen, but maybe we'll see it during this podcast at some point. It's I'm not really that big of a fan of Supergirl. She's like fine, it's kind of like how I feel about a little bit about Batgirl. Like I like Batgirl, but like without Batman, there's no Batgirl. Without Superman, there's no Supergirl. I feel like it's just like Supergirl is just kind of like an additional bonus to the Superman mythos rather than like her own like established character, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
I don't know how you feel about Supergirl.
I don't know. I'm not really into the Superman like universe of Supergirl because like I really wasn't a big fan. So like my encounters with her would be like more like Justice League and all that stuff, and she'd be a minor character that shows up and does her thing, and then disappears for an episode. And until like I think later on they get her onto the show later, but I didn't really. Well, I wasn't a super fan of her. I know I'm not the biggest fan of the new TV show they had on CW.
Yeah, we're not the demographic for that show. That's like for
No.
teenagers. And I think the ratings have been dropping down significantly as the show goes on. I mean, that happens with every show, but I've seen a video of like PewDiePie making fun of the Supergirl show. I would recommend watching that because it's pretty funny. That's the most I really know about the show. And
Okay.
but anyway, this is a completely different atmosphere. This is on the big screen and the big motion picture. She's going to be showing up in The Flash, so is Michael Keaton's Batman, and so is, I guess, Ben Affleck's Batman. So anything could be open. So going to the new news, there's a reboot in works of Superman with J.J. Abrams. At least he's producing. I'm not sure if he's directing yet. And with the writer I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Ta-Nehisi Coates writing. Yeah, so he's I guess he's known for a lot of Black Panther comic books and some Captain America. And
so he rebooted. He brought back Black Panther in 2016, and then he brought back Captain America from like 2018, I believe I read up to 2020.
Okay, so he has, from what I've seen, he hasn't really written any films, but he has dabbled in the comic book universe, more so Marvel. But Captain America, I would say, is kind of has the same flavor as Superman, his character. So if you could write for Captain America, I think you should have the same kind of baseline with Superman. So I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like, I'm just glad we're getting a Superman. I mean, obviously I would want them to continue the Henry Cavill stuff. I think he had a lot of potential. They didn't really showcase the full potential that he had to be Superman. So I think it was almost a lost situation that we could have had. But I mean, it's not really fully announced that it's not going to be Henry Cavill, but if they're going to reboot it, they're going to get a new actor. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense. But if they're doing these cross-universe things, there's still a potential that Henry Cavill could be, in the multiverse somewhere in the future. I think it has to. I think the Warner Brothers is going to see how the Snyder Cut does with the fandom and the reactions with that before they kind of continue that universe. I'm not really the biggest fan of the Snyderverse. I don't know. How do you feel about this news?
No, I'm okay with them doing the reboot with it, but like in my head it's just like you're saying, we Henry Cavill, we haven't got that much out of him. We got one solo movie, two whatever movies.
Yeah, and then in Batman versus Superman, he had he had less than 50 lines of dialogue. He had no lines of dialogue.
Yeah, it wasn't the best for him. And then what's it? Justice League. That was what I don't know how to describe Justice League, because Justice League is just like a cluster of hell.
Yeah.
So now they're doing the release of the Snyder Cut that will show probably more better acting skills he probably had, and some original key shots that he was shooting without CGI face.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. I recommend them continue on with him, but at the same time is that it'd be cool seeing another Superman added to the roster.
Yeah, it's getting a little confusing. I think they're gonna the comic book realm of movies are eventually gonna lose audiences just because there's gonna be too much going on. There's already 2 Batmans, 3 Batmans, what the fuck am I saying? There's 3 Batmans.
Is there 3 Batman?
There's Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and the new guy, the guy who was in the lighthouse.
No, but Michael Keaton, that's a totally different story. So he's gonna be in the multiverse crap.
Yeah, but there's still 3 Batmans in the same time.
I know.
It's still 3 Batmans.
But Michael Keaton's probably not going to be a constant thing.
Probably not. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? They're still having 3 Batmans at the same time.
But Ben Affleck is supposed to be retiring his role, so like, hopefully that
maybe a passing of the torch kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They shouldn't do anything, but like
Robert Pattinson, that's his name.
Yep. Supposedly there's some talk of like maybe. Remember how there's like that one comic book series of the Black Superman?
Yeah.
There's rumors about that, and some people are throwing around. There's a couple here and there articles stating it's gonna be Michael B. Jordan.
I heard that. I'm not a fan of that at all. It's just like it would be like. I mean, if they're gonna do that route, make it a completely different character, maybe someone else from Krypton or a different universe or something like that. I know they have a Superman that's kind of based on Barack Obama, who's a completely
that's what they're basically. I'm reading this article.
I'm not really a fan of that. That would be like, I mean, they did it right with Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man, Peter Parker still exists, but you know, Miles Morales is taking up the mantle, and like that's how you do the transition like that. You know, you pay respects to the original character, but you know, you add on to the mythos with Miles Morales. It's not like Miles Morales completely erased Peter Parker's timeline and everyone just forgot like he exists. You know, that's not what they're doing. It's just building upon that story, and you know, his past was still the original Spider-Man. So if they retcon Clark Kent as Superman, I would not. I would have a big problem with that, and I hope they don't do that at all.
I don't know. I don't know how they go by it, but like once I typed in the character's name that's supposedly the Superman of that universe, was it Calvin Else?
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know.
There are more tweets and more news pops up going towards it.
I'm not gonna believe all that nonsense until it's officially, you know, announced. You know,
I'm fine either way. If they do it right, they do it right. But we haven't had a complete whole, like you're saying, we haven't had a Clark Kent trilogy or the second movie yet. And we haven't there's no real arc of Clark Kent with the new DC universe.
No, not at all. There's a baseline there, but there's nothing to build upon from it. You know, like I mean, there's only a baseline. There's nothing solid. You know, they didn't fully tell the story of the potential of Superman with that. You know, with that universe. So, I mean, they're completely rebooting it, it seems like. And this whole thing with Michael B. Jordan, if it's a different character, fine. But, you know,
has Michael B. Jordan in DC once already?
No, he was in that crappy Fantastic Four film.
Yeah, he's always in the Marvel
movies.
He was
in Black Panther.
Yep.
So, like, I think Michael B. Jordan had his shot with a bunch of superhero properties, and I think Michael B. Jordan should not be Superman.
Well, he failed as a hero, then he actually made it as a villain.
Yeah,
actually, that's the funniest thing.
Yeah, he was probably the best part of Black Panther. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I'm not going to believe all that nonsense until it's official. You know, I'm not going to go by the speculation, you know, whatever. But I did hear this news about J.J. Abrams potentially producing / directing the new Superman reboot. I guess it's been in the works and talks for months now. I actually heard rumors about this months ago. But I just kind of took it with a grain of salt. I didn't think it was like a official until obviously today. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for new Superman. I think Superman definitely needs to be brought in the limelight again. And I think we need Superman for this generation. I don't think we really got him. At least with I don't think it was been fulfilled with the Snyder verse or whatever we got.
No, yeah. No, the Snyderverse. Well, yeah, we're gonna call it the Snyderverse. The Snyderverse did not actually fulfill Superman's like whole thing, like his story, his arc. They just gave him like
They
one
gave
movie.
him a decent
It wasn't the
baseline.
best.
I would say Man of Steel. The more I kind of look back on it, the more I'm more fond of it than I dislike it. But it definitely has its problems. But I think it's a solid baseline. Like Force Awakens. Force Awakens isn't the best film, but it's a good starting point for a Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
A New Hope redone. And Man of Steel, kind of solidifies the universe and what the baseline is going to be. And I think if they build upon that, instead of just shoehorning all these characters instantaneously to this universe, it would have worked a lot better than just like throwing everything at the wall all at once. They kind of sped rushed this universe. Well, I don't know. That's all I'm really going to say about that until we get more further news about who's officially announced to be Superman, if Henry Cavill will come back, and there's potential that talks that Henry Cavill might come back for Shazam 2 for the sequel. But
doesn't he show up at the end supposedly?
Yeah, he shows up at the end of the first Shazam, but it's not him. Obviously, it's just a body double. I think they wanted to get Henry Cavill, but he didn't do it just because of scheduling conflicts. And I think that's the only reason why he didn't show up. So they just got the body double. But I thought if they're gonna do that, might as well just not do it at all. But it was fine. I don't know. We'll see what the future has to bring to this universe, and I'm all for more Superman. So I don't know. I don't know if you have anything more to say about it, but yeah. Well,
this is really new news to me. So like every single article that I'm reading is like more information.
Yeah,
that's coming in play. Like actually, when I looked up Michael B. Jordan, DC, they don't discuss anything really about any new Superman thing with him. It's mostly him talking about in 2020, October 17th. This article states that he is trying to produce a Static Shock live movie or TV show.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. And Michael B. Jordan, don't get me wrong, he's a good actor, but I don't see him as Superman at all. I actually see. I know there's talks of Will Smith like back in the '90s being Superman. I actually see him more of as a Superman than Michael B. Jordan.
Well, he ended up getting the Hancock movie. That was basically his Superman movie.
Will Smith's kind of
his weird Superman-ish movie.
Yeah, which is fine because it's a completely different character and it doesn't retcon the whole arc and the basics standpoint of what Superman is. If you don't go far off the tracks that are laid from you. Go back to basics, keep it simplified. That's what worked in the past, and that's what worked for all these generations and these decades. And if you revert too far off track, which we kind of saw with Zack Snyder's take on Superman, that it kind of all falls and crumbles on its face. It doesn't really work. So don't go too far from formula, because when you do, it's just you screw it up. And once you over-complex such a simple story, it just doesn't really work. So I don't know. But Matt, I know you wanted to talk about this next animation feature, so I'll let you take it away.
Okay, it's been like 2 years, and I didn't want to pay for the DC universe thing because supposedly there was like a whole bunch of like hearsay with the DC universe app and how you're supposed to pay for it. Now DC has made an agreement with HBO Max with settling putting all their stuff onto HBO Max, and that's a deal. I get more movies and DC Universe stuff at the same time. So they put Harley Quinn, the animated show, on there now. There's 2 seasons. It came out in 2019, and it's about how Harley Quinn actually realizes that she has to separate herself from the Joker, and she's trying to become the baddest badass in DC Universe. And
or at least in Gotham City, she's trying to like.
mostly Garth, yeah, she's staying in Gotham City, but they end up like bringing a lot more characters from like other other superhero shows into it.
Mm-hmm.
Then like later on, like if you, Josh, I think I had said like you should just watch the first episode to see how you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Dennis?
Oh, is Dennis here?
Yeah, Dennis is there.
Hey, Dennis.
You're a senpai.
Wait, so go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was just basically saying like how the show is more of was it mostly focusing on Harley Quinn is trying to become the newer badass of Gotham. Basically, her main idea is trying to get into the Legion of Doom, and that's the whole purpose of season 1. And I believe that's what I'm telling Josh to try out the episode 1, and see how basically the episode is showing how her new lifestyle, her new story is picking up from being Joker's partner in crime to becoming like a solo show and trying to get her goals going with becoming a new villain of the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, so I just saw the first episode. It was kind of what I expected to be.
That's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, it was good. Well, it was Harley Quinn. It was just like a lot of explicit.
Thank you, Dennis.
It was just a lot of explicit language, just for the sake of it. You know, like if I was 13 years old, I would probably think this was the greatest show ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they keep like within the first 2 minutes, they threw out like 5 F-bombs, you know, and like, you know, I get what they're trying to do, but what really, you know, if they said it once in the beginning, it would have landed more with me. It would have you know, at least settled. I would have been like, holy shit, they said a swear word. But once they just keep saying it line after line, just like the F-bomb, 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 it loses its poignancy and its punch. You know, it's not as direct. You know, it's just kind of just once I keep hearing the same word, it doesn't have the same effect. You know, but that being said, I did like the graphic imagery. I liked the blood. I liked what they were doing. I just thought the F-bombs and
you feel like the script should have been changed.
It was just a little gratuitous, you know. It was just a little too much. And I think if they just said one F-bomb in the beginning, it would have landed a lot more. But once it's just literally every other line, you know, it felt like almost a 13-year-old kid wrote the lines. I wouldn't say the story, but I would say the lines and what people say. You know, and if that's the whole show, if they're gonna throw an F-bomb every other line, it's not gonna hit as hard as it would. You know, say Harley Quinn, she says one F-bomb, you know, in the beginning, or oh shit, this is gonna get real, you know, but I don't know, it's just over the oversaturation of that language. It just
I think they are aiming for the younger generation with this show because if they have access to the app, they can watch the show. So more kids like to curse nowadays. I've realized that mostly with my coworker that I have at work. He's 20 and every word he says is F word this, F word that.
But that's every
and he yells it.
Kid. That's every teenager is.
I know.
Except that. So discovered swear words for the first time. And that's how I almost feel like this show was. And I did like the show. I just thought how, you know, what they wrote. It almost felt like the new Predator movie. You know how it was like like a freaking 13-year-old kid wrote the script. Like literally every other line was.
Oh, I'm surprised you actually watched that.
Predator, blah blah blah. It was just that gratuitous and just that, on that scale. And I don't know. It's a good show, but I just got to get past that point.
You have to get past it, and just if you get past, like if you what? Okay, so this next episode, in episode 2, you end up gaining more like characters other than just the normal people. So this episode, you end up getting the Joker, Harley, Joker's gangs, Batman, Commissioner Gordon, the Riddler, Calendar Man, and some other people in the midst. They're minors of like minor roles.
Yeah.
So like later on, next episode, you end up gaining more villains that are bigger names, and you'll probably enjoy it more.
Does the swearing continue like this though? Like how does the show continue on? Because like this first episode, there's literally like if I was losing count, there was like 5 swear words in like the span of 2 minutes. Like 5 F-bombs. It was like, okay, I get it.
It depends who's talking.
Swear, but
it depends who's talking. So if like you get Harley Quinn, or if you get Joker, you're gonna get more of a cursing. If you get more like, let's see, Bane, they made him into a more like, he's like the Tom Hardy's edition. What's his name? Yeah, I believe that's his name. Like,
yes,
his Bane. So they made him like that, and they just shit on him the mostly, and he's like, "What do you mean? What the hell? Why don't I have an effing chair?" And it's just more comedy because he's just stupid and like trying to figure out what's going on with himself. But he curses like once in a while. He doesn't even say anything. Then you get Penguin that gets down to the business, and then Scarecrow Head has like 3 or 4 lines.
Okay.
So like, there's like a couple here and there people that have cursing lines than the other ones. They mainly give mostly the cursing to Joker and Harley Quinn.
I don't know. It feels a little weird. It just feels.
Batman drops an F-bomb.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Once
if Batman drops like 1 F-bomb, then that'll have more potency. Go like, holy shit, Batman just swore. This shit must be getting real. This must be like, a dire situation for Batman to actually swear up front. But once, like I said before, once every other word is the F this, F that, then I'm like, okay, that word doesn't mean anything anymore. It loses its punch. It loses its meaning. It might as well just be saying, but over and over again. I don't know.
I think we still laugh at that. So, knowing us.
Yeah, exactly. See, they don't have to do it all the time. But, I like the animation. I liked how graphic. I liked how graphic the violence was. Like when Joker threw acid in these people's faces, like they're like melting.
It just
melts. Yeah, they're melting like Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end when they show the Ark of the Covenant. Like everyone's just their faces are melting and they're not being covered by fire. You actually see every gratuitous action, and I enjoyed that. And it reminded me a lot of the comic books from the New 52 era with Harley Quinn, but But in those comic books, they had the same kind of sense of humor, but it didn't say like "fuck this," "fuck that," like every other speech bubble. They had like bleeped out words, but obviously you read it in your head. Like
like a comic book is more like a little kid basically can buy that comic book. This show is supposed to be like age restricted. You should have an age restriction to it. I know.
Where is the show even shown? Like, how do you watch the show? Was it always on streaming, or was it on?
It was always on streaming. The DC universe, so that's where it was. And if these don't have the DC app, so DC probably, if there was a way, they probably they should have put a restriction on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they did. Then HBO Max really doesn't care about really restrictions for everybody. The app is just open.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I'm no prude. Like I don't care about swearing, but when it's every other thing, it doesn't have as much of an impact. But the story itself, I liked how Harley Quinn kind of went through evolution. You know, she started out with the classic Harley Quinn costume, and by the end of it, once she gets her new identity and she basically revolts against the Joker and realizing that he could care less about her, he cares more about killing Batman than anything else, that she got her own identity and then she changed her costume. To be honest, I like the original costume a lot better, but like,
I know
she's
you
gonna
do.
show her own. She's gonna kind of change her identity and her look. So that's that's all fine and good. But the classic Harley Quinn, the less hoary Harley Quinn is, the better, And I think with recent years, they made Harley Quinn's look more slutty to get teenagers excited. I guess
True.
Even in Suicide Squad, she like had like booty.
Facts.
Yeah, so I mean, I like this show. I just wish they would just kind of tone it down a little bit, and once they actually use the F-bombs, it would have more of a punch and kind of delay it in between each word. It was like if when someone swears, it should actually mean something instead of just every other word like a 13-year-old kid, like just swearing just because they discovered it for the first time.
Well, the show did discover it. It's newish. No, I'm just joking. I hear what you're saying, but like it kind of some of it kind of dies down in the second season.
Okay. No, I'll definitely continue watching it. I just hope they get more, since it's the first episode. I hope they get more of a grasp on,
on everything. Yeah, they kind of do.
Use the language,
Then what's it called? They are they are trying to set up for season 3, but it hasn't been announced yet. But they did get the green light. It hasn't got like a date.
Because fuck is the worst word that you can say, so just use the word okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my god. All right. So yeah, I don't know. There's not really much more I want to say about the show other than, I like the animation. I like what they're going for. I like the colorful cast of characters, like how they utilize each character, and it seems like a more fun universe than we're used to with the cinematic universe.
Yeah. That's why I kind of enjoy watching it. It's just a different I finished all of it. So I know like the whole story up to where we're like from season 2 season 1 to season 2. So like it's a lot different. It's a different feel for everything. The show gets brings in more chaos, but you still get like this different realm of like hell. And because fuck is the worst. Really?
So just say okay.
So yeah, it's like a different setup, and I love how they bring in a lot more of the indie villains that we don't even see anymore around. Like what in season 2? Do you remember the Batman animated series? They have Condiment King.
Yeah, that's where they introduce the character.
Yeah, they bring him back. They have Kite Man as a minor character. He keeps showing up now throughout the first season and to that. Well, episode 2 he premieres, and then he shows up to like the end of season 2. He's like a constant character, and they bring in other here and there's. They got Man Bat's a thing, and they bring in Clayface. You don't see most of these characters being in the limelight on like Batman shows or live action movies.
No, yeah, I agree. I think they need to have more fun with this universe and what the direction that they're going in, at least with the cinematic universe, is a lot less fun than I would want these characters to be in. I want them to go like, so this is what I would do, right? I would want like them the first movie for each character, go basic, streamline, as simple as possible with the origin, just go back to basics, right? And then
Yep.
once you kind of get the ball rolling with the sequels and stuff, go a little crazier, like maybe with Man of Steel, 2, you introduce like Brainiac or something, right? And then Man of Steel, like Superman, Man of Steel 3 or whatever, you add freaking Mr. Mistfitlik or Bizarro, so it gets a little more crazier. Like, so you add Bizarro for the third one. And the fourth one, yeah, you just go batshit crazy. Go,
how many movies of Superman do you want, Josh?
yeah, add Mr. Mistfitlik and go to the fifth dimension and just get fucking wild with it, Once, I don't know, it seems like they just kind of limit themselves once they put themselves more in a realistic setting. Like, a realistic setting, like there's a lot you could tell with that setting, obviously more serious storylines, but you could tell those stories with real people, like these characters aren't real, so why would we want to have these characters in a realistic setting? Obviously they don't exist in real life, so what is this universe? Where does this exist? So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. I mean, Marvel is kind of doing that. They started basic and then they went up to going out into space with like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. And I totally applaud that. I think Guardians is my favorite. I think my favorite not universe, but my favorite substance out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I enjoy their stuff.
Because they're heroes, but at the same time they're misfits.
Yeah, they're misfits.
And they're always doing something messed up to save the day.
It's almost like they're their own separate like lineage. Like they're outside of the Avengers stuff until Endgame and all that.
Like
doing their own side quests and they're just having fun with it.
Well, basically because like no one's that's the thing. None of the Marvel is superheroes other than Captain Marvel, but like she wasn't really introduced until later in the series.
Yeah, I'm not
the film industry. But like they had the high rank, like they just basically ran space. So like it was just them doing things in space. No one else touched space until basically what was it? Let's say it was Endgame mostly because they end up all going to space at that point. And the Iron Man gets stuck in space with Nebula. That's basically really it. That's when they started doing more crazy things. They did like here and there touches, but they never did like a real movie in space.
Right.
It's always been Guardians has been always in space, doing things in space because that's their whole little realm and like area they'd be treading.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Star-Lord's dad's a planet. Come on.
Yeah, which is awesome. I like Guardians 2 a lot. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, so I don't know. That's my little tangent going off course. But I do enjoy this show. I think I got to get past some of the dialogue, just how they use just swear words and language in general. If I was like I said, if I was 13 years old, I would think this show is the shit. I would think this is the best show I ever saw. But I'm not 13 anymore, so I would want this to be at least a little more mature, which it's obviously not going for that. This is going for that 13-year-old demographic. I applaud them for it. I would be 100% behind it. I just. Once it loses the poignancy of these words once you just continually use it every other sentence. It just doesn't mean anything anymore. And it could have been, anyone. It could have been a, like I said, like a 13-year-old kid writing a dialogue, So
it kind of reminds me of some of the lines in dialogue or like things like that happens in the show. Kind of reminds me like more when they introduce the character Frank the Plant. When he gets introduced, it makes me have a feeling of like Family Guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gets into like comedy of Family Guy.
I'm not really a fan of Family Guy. Family Guy.
I was a fan for a bit, but then it died down after they got past like I think season 4.
Yeah, Family Guy's fine. I think Family Guy is my least favorite like adult cartoon show. I would put it I would put it way down there. I'd put probably early Simpsons at top. Then I don't know, like Futurama, Rick and Morty. All the way down the line is like Family Guy. I wouldn't put it at a high tier. So comparing the show to Family Guy, that's not really a winning argument for me.
No, but there's like some parts I look at it, I see like, oh, this feels like a Family Guy episode happening, or something they throw in the Family Guy like lines.
Yeah, I could see that. But I enjoy the colors. I enjoy the dynamic characters, what they're going for. I just got to get past how they're writing it, how they're writing the dialogue. That's what.
Yes, enjoy the venture. That's what you have to do. Enjoy the venture.
Yeah, so that's what's kind of holding it back for me. I would give this show, if I was going to rate just the pilot, I would say like a 7. I'm enjoying it more than I'm disliking it. If they kind of brought down the language a little bit, brought down the swearing, I would give it a higher rating. And that we had this problem even when we were filming our Batman Superman fan film. We swore during the film, but I remember we had to rein in the swear words a little bit because it would lose its punch and lose its meaning if we kept swearing every other line.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
Yeah. I wonder who it was too. I'm not staring at them right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I wonder
if you enjoy Harley Quinn, definitely enjoy it. I'm not putting anything against you. I definitely want to continue watching it. It's definitely a show I want to continue watching and see where it goes from here. And I like how they use the Batman from The Brave and the Bold. It's the same voice actor from that. So it seems like that universe, like the Brave and the Bold universe, that was obviously geared towards kids. It's like that, but for 13-year-olds. And I enjoy the setting and how it looks. It seems like they're having a lot more fun with this than other DC properties.
How did you like the Gordon character?
He seemed like he was drunk. He seemed like he's been doing this for decades almost, and he's just been beaten down to like he's just going basically insane. And I mean that would probably would happen to a character like that, but I don't know. I kind of wish we saw a little bit of a transition to his state.
You do not. Okay, his transition of that character gets even worse in season 1, but it picks up in season 2. So his arc spreads into season 2, other than resolving in season 1.
Right. Well, I just wish that we saw like him devolving into where they started out, at least.
No, I believe in season 2 they kind of touch upon what's happening, and then in season 1 they introduce like some concepts of what's happening in his like actual personal life to make him that way too.
Right.
So there's a lot of constants happening to Gordon that is like making him become this way.
Yeah. No. I mean that I'm all for that. It just I know like they kind of touched upon that in The Killing Joke. Like Joker was trying to break Commissioner Gordon. He's trying to prove to Batman that it only takes one bad day to bring down even the sanest of men to my level of insanity. And with that whole arc with The Killing Joke, like Joker paralyzes his daughter. He's showing the images, he based it of like her paralyzed, her getting shot, her being undressed, with all these pictures and this graphic imagery, and he's like going through this insane funhouse of misery. And even after all that, he does not break down. And obviously this is a different universe, but I'm just saying,
well, in this universe,
a very strong character. And I would not disagree. Like any man going through all of this insanity would break down at some point. I just wish we got to see the devolve, like him devolving.
Well, In this one, Joker does state, I believe, in the pilot, how he did shoot Gordon's partner as and made her crippled,
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
paralyzed,
Yeah, he
instead of being his daughter.
I thought he was gonna make a reference to the Killing Joke, but he said partner. So
It's because they want. I think in season 2 they go with a certain route, and you'll see why if you continue watching the show. Why they go with that?
Yeah, but I want to get to the meat and potatoes of.
Let's go there.
So let's move on. We are going
Okay,
to talk about.
So this is what?
Superman and Lois. Wait, what were we gonna?
Yes, I was gonna say this is like Josh's thing. He's been trying to figure out for about almost a month when this thing's supposed to air, and this aired the 23rd of this month, actually Monday.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
So it only came out like a couple of days ago. Superman and Lois is another CW show, continuing the storyline of Superman, who is now married to Lois Lane. Basically continuing on with now they have 2 kids. So Superman has to juggle being a Superman and being a dad. So I actually was kind of when I heard the premise, I wasn't really that excited about the show. I was like, oh, it'll probably be okay, you know. With like the CW shows, I haven't been really watching them. The only one I watched was The Flash, and I kind of fell off it like 2 or 3 seasons prior to recent. And so I was like, oh, he has kids. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's something I haven't really seen in the Superman medium before. Obviously, they did it in the comic books and stuff.
Then they do in Young Justice too.
Yeah, I never really
watched
watched Young Justice. I heard good things about it. I think I watched like 1 or 2 episodes. So I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And I got to say, this show really won me over. It seems like it's a show that's going for an older demographic than Supergirl, and I would say even The Flash. It seems more like a show that's going for like like a kind of older audience, but like kids and younger generations can enjoy it. And I did appreciate that. They didn't sugarcoat the problems that are going on in our world. They talked about meth. They talked about kids being burned alive, basically because their parents.
Yeah, they talked about mental illness with kids.
Yeah, well, they're talking about like meth and how their parents accidentally set their house on fire because they're trying to cook meth in their houses in Smallville, which probably would be happening in small town rural Kansas because what else can you really do, I guess. Don't do drugs, kids. But
no, please don't.
But I liked how they didn't sugarcoat it. They didn't pretend like those things don't happen, but at the same time, it's still a fun universe, and they're still having a good time with it. And I was like, oh man, Superman as a dad, and I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm like, oh wait, no, this is perfect. Fucking Superman is the dad of superheroes. He's fucking super cheesy. He has dad jokes. He's like the corniest guy ever.
This is the Superman you've been waiting for.
Yeah, it is. And it was beautiful. It was like exactly what I needed. I was like, oh man, I was totally with the show. I was like, at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. And then, once it got going, I was like, oh, I like the characters. I like his 2 kids. I like Lois. I never really watched Supergirl. I might have watched, like I said prior, a couple episodes here and there. I only watched like the crossover episodes when Flash would show up, and I think I only watched the first episode where Superman shows up in the Supergirl universe. But it seemed like, I don't know, it seemed you don't need to know anything about the Flash show. You don't need to know anything about the Supergirl show. You could just start fresh, watch the show, and you kind of know, I mean, there's a lot to grasp upon. He has 2 kids. He's married to Lois. But if you just know the basic Superman mythos. Superman loves Lois. So what would happen if they had kids? And this answers the question. This is what would happen if Superman and Lois had kids, and they kind of continued that story.
Well,
Which
we'll do that.
wait, go ahead.
Do that. We'll do that. I watched all most of the what was it, Arrowverse shows and all the crossovers. So in the last crossover, they introduce Lois and Superman, and Lois is pregnant in that one. So it was leading up to them having kids.
Okay.
So that's where this kid thing was coming from. So they ended up in the Elseworld crossover.
So how does the timeline work for that? Because it seems like
For this show, it's really confusing and it's kind of offsetting because I think for some odd reason this Superman is not connected in a way to Supergirl, but at the same time they are connected in a way because of the ending of the show. It feels like.
Well, I don't know. I don't know shit about
because how the show's going.
I don't really care. I don't really care about the show.
It feels like this has been separated from all that's been part, everything from the past they had set up.
I'm totally for. Don't. I don't want the.
It's a
I don't
different setting.
I don't want the other baggage of these other shows. I just wanted to start off fresh, feel like its own show. I don't want it to feel like I have to watch these other shows and these other episodes to understand what's going on.
Because
if you know the basic mythos of Superman, this is just kind of a continuation of Superman and Lois got married and they had kids and they had two twins. What would be? And I know they started to do that with the Dean Cain show, Lois and Clark. They just got married in I think it was the last episode, and then they canceled the show. So they were gonna, if they were gonna continue that show, they would have had kids and kind of continue it that way. So this is kind of the answer to the Lois and Clark show.
They're connecting the shows.
Being called Superman and Lois, it's kind of like I see. It seems like a little nod to the previous television series. Well, yeah.
Well, but the thing is, that I'm trying to get at, it's in that show, in the Arrowverse, they were picking up with the whole they're gonna have a kid in the was it Elseworld crossover. Now it's how old are these kids? 16?
Yeah, they're at least 15.
So this is 16, 17 years into the future.
15.
Yeah, 14. Are they? Oh no, they're freshmen in high school.
Yeah, I think they're.
So they're 14. So this is 14 years into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So this really doesn't make sense, and of a lot of some of the stuff we find out in the episodes later on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to spoil until we get to the end of the podcast.
I don't know what you're getting at, to be honest.
So if to just bring in spoilers and jump to the end, so Superman ends up finding a villain in this episode, introducing the person this mysterious person that's in basically an Iron Man suit. I thought it was they're bringing in Brainiac for some odd reason. Because there's a robotic person, it's fighting him.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. I remember you stating that before I watched it, and I was watching it, I was like, oh, well, it's obviously someone in a suit. And if it's someone in a suit, it's not a Kryptonian, and it's not Brainiac. So it would have to be someone who has the limitations of needing...
The part where I stopped is when he was talking to him before he noticed there was a man in a suit. So that's why I was thinking it was Brainiac, because it ended up becoming he was just talking and he was just out of you just only heard the voice coming around everywhere. And Brainiac basically can control technology, so I just thought he was talking through speakers and ways they can hear him. But then later on, we end up finding out that at the end of the episode, here's a spoiler. They say, "Hello, Mr. Luthor." Luthor was killed off in Supergirl and brought back to life in Everworld. And I believe they end up killing him off or arresting or putting him into some kind of prison and he was already in his late years of his lifespan. And he was a different, and his actor's voice is different to the actor for the Supergirls. It was the guy that plays, was in 2.5 Men, the annoying brother.
Oh yeah.
He plays Lex Luthor in Supergirl.
It's like a colored actor, so it's obviously not the same actor.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a different universe. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking. It's maybe a different universe. Superman is part of a different world than what Supergirl is actually attached to.
I don't care about all that baggage. You know, I don't.
I know, but I'm just like trying to say, like, this is
I don't
my puzzling.
Need that added baggage. I just like this as its own individual show. I don't need to watch all this nonsense to understand what's going on. That's why I enjoy about this, and I like how his one son has like full-on anxiety, and his other son is like high school jock. You know, it's a total polar opposites, which would happen with, you know, kids. You know, obviously they're twins, but they're not. You know, they're not identical. They're fraternal twins. They
don't have the same personality. They are two separate people.
Yeah.
So, and they live two different separate
lives. The jock son is Jonathan, and the other son who has anxiety and has been going to therapy is Jordan. And once I was watching it, it took me a while to, not a while, but it took me a little bit to kind of grow into their characters and their dynamic and situation. And I was like, okay, I was like kind of behind it. I feel like Jonathan is what Clark Kent wanted to be back in Smallville High School, you know.
Okay.
What he wanted to be. He wanted to be the football star. He wanted to be the jock, you know, but he couldn't because he knew if he was, you know, if he went forward with playing football, that he would be doing a disservice to what he was ultimately sent to Earth to do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he wasn't sent to Earth to score touchdowns. And with the Jordan character, I feel like that's actually more true to what Superman was growing up in Smallville. He was awkward. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know where he fit in. And we find out that Jordan is the one who has superpowers, and they don't know if Jonathan, the football star, has any powers. They think he doesn't, but I'm pretty sure he does.
Well, I think he does because don't they have like in the montage, like in the beginning, like how they're talking?
He cuts the rope with a football.
Yeah, cuts the rope. So I'm like, that's not usual thing for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not usual.
I think it's just like,
they forgot.
It's going to develop at some point, but you know, they want to give Jordan a little more to stand behind him, at least in the beginning episodes, I think. So I liked when he used they're at the Smallville bonfire with Lana Lang's kid. I think her name's Sarah.
Yep.
And it reminded me of what we would do back in high school. You know, we would have bonfires and the people would be drinking. I remember, and like once they started fighting, I was like, you know what? I mean, there's a lot of alcohol involved. I mean, I know it was like the fight just kind of happened, you know, but with alcohol and teenage hormones, you know, that's how shit went down. And, you know, I remember one time I was at a bonfire party. I think Matt was there. And
I don't recall.
And I remember there was like two different like freaking groups, right? Well, there's three. There's a lacrosse.
It was my group versus your group.
No, that's how it was. No, that was.
I know.
It was. There was the lacrosse kids, the football kids, and the skater kids. I was with the lacrosse kids. Matt was with the football kids, and then there's the skater kids. The lacrosse kids were just observing the whole entertainment value that was going on in front of us. So we had no stakes in the matter. You know, we're just having fun.
You're innocent bystanders.
And, yeah, we're just bystanders enjoying the free show, which like all
Dennis, you're probably there too.
Phones and filming the filming the fight. I'm like, well, that's what kids would do. They would film it and, with no consequences. And I remember the skater kids and the football kids, they were having a tussle because someone threw a bottle at the bonfire and it exploded. And then that's when the fight started.
Oh, God, that's Roberto.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that
Mm.
very vividly, and I was just like observing the whole time. And once that happened, it just took me right back to that. I was like, you know what? We kind of grew up in a small ville, like we were like it, like our situation. We grew up in, mid Hudson Valley of New York State, so it was like a melting pot of scenarios. Like we had people from the boonies, like farmland, and people from Poughkeepsie, which is a city, more rural, and we had people in the suburbs. So it was just like a whole group of different backgrounds, different people, and these ideologies kind of clashed at points. And that was just one of the experiences I had with just that. And once when I was watching that whole scene, once the fight just kind of started, I was like, well, that's what happened at that party. The fight just happened. It wasn't like preempt. So it was. I really enjoyed that scene. I was like, oh, this is cool. I liked how his brother Jonathan was sticking up for Jordan. It's not like obviously they're totally different, but obviously they love each other and they stand up for each other. And I gotta say, the production value was a lot better than I was expecting. I was expecting it to look like The Flash or something like that.
It's a lot better than all the recent. It's a lot better than all the recent Arrowverse movie shows.
Yeah.
Like I think it's because this is Superman. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, but
that's how I felt. Like they put it's Superman's name's attached to it, so people are going to put more budget to it and actually make it perform better.
Besides the costumes, I thought it looked really good. The costumes still look like TV show quality. But
dude, I feel like I was watching a decent decent film, actual theater movie at some points in the show with some of the graphics and setups of stuff, all the scenes.
No,
I didn't feel like I was watching TV unless when they get to the farm.
Yeah, and I like how the Kent farm it stayed true to every Superman thing I seen. Like that Kent farm, it wasn't shot in the same location as Superman the movie or Smallville, but it the basic blueprint of what Smallville Kent farm looks like was all still there. It's just like a basic farmland, and there's a windmill in the background. It's just all there, and it felt like, even though it was different, it still felt very familiar. It still seemed like the same background.
The same farm.
Yeah, it still seemed like the same farm, the same background, and it seemed like we've been here for decades, but it's a completely different location. And
I kind of wish we had the mother was around a little bit longer. Than just she's dead.
Yeah. Well, once that happened, I was like, oh shit, I was expecting her to die so soon, but I guess that's how
I was expecting something more tragic to happen.
The show gets started with her dying, and then they have to go back to Smallville, and that's how all this antics kind of get started. Yeah, so yeah, it is kind of if you're going back to watching it from the Arrowverse, it is a little confusing in that regard because it kind of goes against the grain of what you know. But I'm totally for that. I want it to be its own universe. I don't want to do extra homework to know what's going on in the show. I want to be able to start off fresh and just watch this show and not have to watch this and that and 8 shows to know what's going on in one show. That's kind of what threw me off with the whole CW thing. I mean, I think it's cool that they're doing the crossovers and stuff, but the only show I really got into was The Flash, and I just thought the other ones were just okay. And I was like, well, if I'm not going to watch just okay shows just because I have to, So that's kind of where I fell off.
So I noticed. I remember you would actually purchase all the crossovers instead of just watching the show. You're like, all right, I'll just purchase these episodes. I'll watch the crossover, and that's it.
Yeah, that's all I did. Yeah, the crossovers were cool. They seemed pretty cinematic. I didn't watch each one. I think I missed the last one, the last two, or whatever. How many?
I think you lost. I think you missed the last two.
Yeah. Were they any good? Like,
the one when the second to last one was good, better than the last one. The last one was just like, what the fuck's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on?
The last one I heard about was like they introduced Batwoman or whatever, you know.
No, that was the second last one.
Mm-hmm. That's the last one.
That's when they introduced her in that one and all that junk. Like they introduced her in that one, and like it just gets confusing. Batman is like, no, not Batman. Like Green Arrow is like gets killed off, and like he ends up getting resurrected again. And but when he gets resurrected, he becomes a god and all that other junk. And like he saves the freaking day, but he ends up dying again.
So like Vision.
What?
Like Vision, how he dies twice.
Yes. But Vision ends up dying without a real reason because they fuck him up, because like they destroy the stone, but he reverses it so the stone's back to normal again. So Vision's death doesn't mean shit. Green Arrow's death means stuff at the end of the crossover.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you? Well, I know I talked a lot. What do you think of this show?
This show is, like I said, like I like how they are separated from the universe, and like in a way, and they introduce these kids, and I'm like, I don't recall him having kids. Last time I knew, he has this clone son of him in a way later on in some way in like comics, right? He has a game like that clone him.
That's like the Superboy backstory, at least in recent comic books. It's Lex Luthor combines his DNA with Superman's DNA, and then he creates Superboy. So he has like a Superman that he can control. But you know, kind of goes the opposite way. Superman obviously gets him under his wing and continues it.
This Superboy has two daddies.
He's more angsty than Superman is, obviously, because
he has Lex's genes. So
yeah, so he's a little more harder to combat. Yeah, like I said, I like the added characters that they do, like Supergirl and Superboy, but I wouldn't really want to watch. I'm not interested in them individually. Like if it's a Superman story and then they're attached to it, I'm all for it, you know. But if it's just like they're, you know, just like a solo story about them, you know, that's where I kind of lose interest, you know.
Well, have you ever watched Mallrats?
Yes.
There's a part in Mallrats. So like when I noticed they had kids. What?
Super semen part.
Super semen part, yes.
Okay.
And
I had that thought in my head
that
too.
came. What?
I had that thought in my head too, but yeah, continue.
So like I was like talking about, like I was actually like watching it. And I was like, this is happening. They're like, they had kids. I'm like, but Mallrats, he had a good point. Superman would probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like how if it's kind of like the same thing. Like if Superman was gonna like open a door, he has full total control of his muscles and
control this.
So he would have control. I guess he worked so hard at the Fortress of Solitude, figuring out all his complexities, that he had the right proper training to know how much to produce in that certain way. Now you have total control of how much, you know, pressure to put on just to open a doorknob, you know. Like he's immensely strong, but he could, you know, he has the finesse enough to open the doorknob without ripping it off, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it, you know.
But I believe one of the studies rate is that supposedly that is one of the fastest liquids to come out of the human body.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
imagine
That
Superman stripe in that. So this mole rat thing is kind of like, yeah, okay, he's Superman. Everything's like twice, tripled, quadrupled of a normal human being power. So yeah, I can see it happening, but they made it happen. Well, they wait.
at least
Oh God! If you go back in the old Arrow, go back in the old Arrowverse, supposedly they said back in the old Arrowverse that all this happened when they went back to a Kryptonian like planet. So Superman was normal.
okay. Yeah, that could have been a case too, or he could have put red sun lamps in his fucking hole.
No, that's actually a thing. They went back to like another like was it Kryptonian subplanet like lifestyle thing that's basically the same gravity, same lifestyle, same sun, and he's normal. He's a normal human being basically on the planet again.
But Lois could go to the planet too somehow.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it either.
Well,
She's there
anyway,
too.
all that shit is not really important. I mean, it's fun to speculate on it, but I think there's a way to go around it, And
I know, but I'm just like I just want to bring in more rats into this.
Yeah.
It was a funny little hint to it.
It's
But like that's how it is. It was just that's what came to my head. What?
It's a fun thing to think about, but I just kind of draw it along the lines like Superman has ultimate control of his body, like I said, just doing everyday activities, just opening door handles, without ripping it off.
Yes.
He obviously has control over that too. You just left.
You kicked me out.
I did not kick you out. You just
I got
left.
kicked from your thing. I didn't get disconnected at all.
Well, you just left. So, guys, Matt left. So give me a second.
Leave.
Well, obviously you left because you're not here.
I didn't do it.
All right. Well, I'm just saying you're not here. So
Yeah.
you're not here.
Well, I didn't leave.
Well, yes. Okay. Give me a second. So Matt left. Here's Matt. All right. He's coming back. Don't worry, guys. 3, 2, 1. There's Matt. It's
Whee!
a trick.
Hopefully
All
you
right.
can
I
hear
don't
me.
know how
The
that
last
happened.
time that happened.
That happens.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Oh no. I'm confused.
But yeah, so other than fucking that, what did you think of the show?
Actually, like I was saying, I enjoy like them bringing these characters in. I like the way they filmed it, all the graphics wise they added to it. I liked how they in the beginning of the show they actually showed off the original Superman suit.
Yeah, that was Max Fleischer.
That was pretty neat. I was like, that's freaking dope.
Yeah,
but, like it didn't last that long. It was like a few seconds. So
I almost like that. I like that suit better than the one that
he's rocking out.
Yeah, I think I like that suit better than the one that you're continuing.
But this isn't early Superman. This is established Superman.
Yeah, I get it. And then they did the shot with Action Comics #1 with Superman bringing down the green Beetle. They did the same shot when he was wearing that Max Fleischer Superman suit, which was cool. I like that little that little wink, that subtle nod. And they had a few subtle nods. They had another one where he's bringing down the nuclear power plant, the core. And
when he's bringing a glacier, iceberg.
Yeah.
Into there.
And he's trying to bring down the coolant, trying to bring down the temperature so the power.
So it doesn't have a meltdown.
Yeah, so it doesn't have a nuclear meltdown. So he freezes the lake, and he does that in Superman 3 when there's a power plant about to explode. It's not nuclear, but he freezes over a whole. He freezes over a whole lake, and he brings it over the power plant to get rid of a whole fire that's going on, and it works. So I like that nod to Superman 3. That was a deep cut. And I was like, holy shit, Superman 3.
So I was enjoying all that. Like when he did that part, I enjoyed the graphics they added to it, and they had a good it didn't look horrible. It didn't look like it was like a blue ice block. It actually looked like real ice and
Yeah, it
everything
looked
going
more
in.
cinematic.
You saw it melting and breaking
Yeah.
apart when it's going through the core.
Yeah, it looked a lot more cinematic than the other CW shows I'd seen, at least.
Then like they added Lois's father. He's in it again now. Was he Colonel Lane? Is it Colonel Lane or is it Lieutenant Lane?
He's the general.
General. Okay. Colonel Lane. He's in it, and like I believe his back. Like I heard, like he's kind of like a jerk.
Mhm.
He's not a good person in like the comic book series. He's like more of like annoying to most people. He
It
has
depends on what
he has a rough
series.
streak.
It depends on what series, because sometimes like he's a complete asshole to Superman. He does not get along with him at all. He's actually totally against an alien doing all, like he thinks this alien's eventually going to take over the human race.
Yeah.
And with the military instincts that he's going to fully combat Superman. And in other instincts, like this one, instances, he is totally on the same page with Superman. You know, they work together. Obviously, he's married to his daughter. He knows that he's Superman, and it works out.
Yeah.
That he has his rough edges. Obviously, you know, he's a general, so he's gonna see things.
You're gonna see the rough side of it.
Yeah. So he's gonna see as it fits and how it works for him is the right way. So
Well, like in that part with the nuclear the reactor, I liked it when he was just like, "Oh my, oh god, I know him. He's more of like a jerk. He just doesn't like Superman." Then he's like, "Hey, we gotta talk." It's like, when can I take Jonathan freaking fishing?
Yeah.
And oh no, Jared. No, was it? What's the sportsy one?
Jordan.
Jordan. When can I take him fishing?
No,
and when I can take
one is Jonathan. The other one's
Jonathan. Okay, so Jonathan's fishing, and then no, Joe was it? I'm getting the names confused. They're both J's. Why would you name them J's?
Yeah, don't
so
name
Jordan,
it
whatever.
It's a stupid idea.
Yeah, so like that was pretty neat. He wasn't gonna be like a jerk to him. He was actually trying to make contact with like his grandkids and have a fun time with them. And then like later on in the show, you actually see him. You end up seeing the other side of him, like to Lois. He's like, right now it's not a talking matter. We need Superman. Just stay out of this. Just go over there because there's was it Lex Luthor's character? I mean he was doing his thing with the whole like ending fight scene. That's what he needed him for. And like seeing them going to like different countries throughout the show too was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, obviously Superman can travel anywhere, so why not show it and utilize it?
Like in that fight scene, it was pretty dope because they're actually going at full speed, like very fast, and like you can see like, okay, they could have made it to this country. They could have made it to that country with the speed they're going. It wasn't constantly stuck in Smallville or Metropolis.
Yeah,
it was a spread out universe.
It added
just
more of a production value, adding all these locations. You know, even for the small amount of time that they were on screen. You know, and I don't know. I actually enjoyed the show a lot more than I expected it to. You know, I was like, all right, it's going to be another CW show, you know, whatever, you know, I'll watch it. But, you know, I'm pretty invested. I hope they kind of stay on the lines of this. And the Jordan character, like I was saying, he reminded me more of what Clark Kent was in his adolescence than Jonathan. Yeah. Jonathan seems like the Clark Kent of his adolescence that he wanted to be. Jordan is more of what Clark Kent was in his adolescence. And he kind of had that Tom Welling look with his long, like, black curly hair. You know, he looked like Tom Welling a little bit with Smallville. And I liked how they went back to the roots. And yeah, it was. I fully enjoyed it. You know, I'm looking forward to what's to come. I just hope they don't overcomplicate things. You know, but
it's CW. They're going to.
That's what you get with TV shows, especially the CW. Yeah, so
CW usually complicates like everything for no reason.
Yeah,
but if it doesn't go like how this show is promising us, like not to follow the other CW shows, then we may not see any of that.
Yeah,
So that'd be a plus.
I hope it's just its own thing. I mean, there could be a crossover here and there. I'm for that, but I hope I don't have to do extra homework to understand what's going on.
How'd you feel about the Superman spaceship?
It looked fine. It looked like a turd, but like, it looked like a turd in Smallville too. So, especially with the pilot episode, the Smallville pilot episode, his ship looked like a big hunk of crap. But like later on, in later episodes, later seasons, it actually looked like a ship. Looked like something I would.
It didn't look like cardboard.
It looked cool, yeah. But in the first episode, it just looks like a big elephant turd egg thing. It just doesn't look right at all. But in this, it looked fine. It wasn't like my favorite version of a Superman craft, but like, it doesn't need to be anything that special. It just needs to be a pod that brings Superman to Earth, and that's all you really need it for. It doesn't need to be this whole grandiose thing. It doesn't need to be the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't need to be over.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
No, I kind of like when I looked at it and saw the spaceship. It was more like it was to me when like they touched it. It kind of gave me like Man of Steel vibes with some of the things.
Yeah.
Like,
With
it
the
was more
metallic
touch screen.
Yeah,
and then like
and it like spread out. Yeah.
Then it kind of gave me like a Fortress Solitude thing with like mostly like anything like he's basically mostly touching objects and it forms into something else in the freaking Fortress Solitude in a way.
Yeah, I think
in later years.
I think my favorite crafts of the Superman craft, like the Superman pod, is probably I don't know. I actually like the Smallville one. It was like very simple, but it was just like a triangular shape. Not the first episode. That one looked like crap. But like later on, it's like a triangular shape. And I like the Superman the movies version where it's just like a giant crystal ball, and it seems like it was like more organic and alive. Like it was made out of the same particles and elements that the planet was made out of. So I like that.
So it was more of an organic ship.
Yeah. But that being said, like it's not really that important what it looks like. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's.
Well, I just want to see how you like felt about it, like how
realized really later on in episodes. Like it's not like something like Superman's gonna fly all the time. He's not. It's just gonna be like a plot. It's just gonna be a plot element if they use it at all. It's done its purpose. It's there. It's fine. The kids discovered it. And, we'll see what happens.
It's still funny. It's still there this whole time. Now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would think like if I was Clark, at this point, if I had the Fortress Solitude, I probably would have just brought it there. At that point, keeping it at a farm. But it's fine. A few months. Yeah, but no, I fully enjoyed the show. I liked it a lot more than I expected it to, and and I'm a Superman fan, and I wasn't really looking. I was looking forward to it, but I wasn't really looking forward to it. And now since I watched it, I'm looking forward to what's to come. So I'm glad we're getting more Superman medium. I'm glad it was good. I was expecting it to be kind of crap, to be honest.
I never, when this actor was introduced to like the Arrowverse as Superman, I wasn't so gun ho to him.
Yeah, Tyler.
It felt weird.
Something. I think he's
known. What?
Tyler Holchin. I forget. Like I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I kind of felt weird seeing him, and I'm like, this doesn't really fit Superman. But when they brought him into this one, he gave me more of a Superman vibe.
Yeah.
And how he was like portrayed more. It was just like, all right, I enjoy him. He's doing a better job than I was expecting.
Yeah, he seems like he's definitely pulling from the Christopher Reeve Superman. He's bumbling Clark Kent. He's charismatic. I think the most charismatic Superman we'll ever get is Christopher Reeve, but he's definitely pulling on those same kind of strings. He seems like he's playing those same notes. and I do enjoy that. You know, he's obviously doing his own thing, but you know, he's kind of playing on that same note as well. Um, with his Superman though, like when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he should be taller. Superman should be taller. But, I was like, I was actually won over by,
He hovers.
yeah, I was won over by his performance and how he portrayed it, and I kind of can look past that.
I kind of felt bad for him in like the part when he goes into Jordan's room after like he misses Jordan's therapy session,
All
and
right,
Jordan's playing. Okay, another Easter egg.
Justice 2.
DC versus that's not Injustice. That's
No, it is Injustice.
Injustice. They added like more Kombat, more
Yeah,
characters.
no, it was Injustice 2, and I think you could unlock who's the
Raiden.
one
That was
guy?
Raiden.
Yeah, he was like an added character. But
Yeah,
he's
so
Injustice 2. But obviously, it's not the same storyline because if it was the same storyline, then it would reveal everything about what Superman is and his character.
yeah.
So in this universe, it has to be something else,
So it was kind of funny seeing that in my head. I'm like, this is. I was trying to look at it. I was like, because I wasn't like, it was a little off to me. So I thought it was Mortal Kombat versus DC.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. Okay, so Injustice 2 is definitely, so that's a good Easter egg. They put these games in it, and like, it's Raiden's kicking Superman's ass.
Yeah, well, he's playing as Raiden.
Yeah. So like it's funny, it's like Superman's like, oh no, like it's happening.
Yeah. And he even says, he's like, oh, he's like Clark is like, oh, they made a realistic Superman, and Jordan's like, yeah, Superman's lame, Even his son doesn't appreciate, what he does.
Yeah.
Which I find funny because that's how a lot of people feel about the character, especially younger kids, younger generations. So I'm glad they kind of touch upon that, and I'm glad Superman's getting a lot more news and getting a lot more, getting a lot more shows and entertainment, because I think it's a long time coming. Like, Superman's been in the dark for so long, even Wonder Woman got 2 fucking movies. Why can't Superman? Shazam got 2 movies. Why can't Superman,
Oh, if you go with like game storylines, they made him the villain for 2 games.
Yeah,
they didn't have him actually as a real superhero.
I'm not really a fan of the Injustice storyline with Superman. I liked it more in the first one because you could play as the Superman. This is an alternate universe Superman. But once it got to the second one, it was just like, just bad Superman. I'm not a fan of that. It's an interesting story, but that's not Superman. It's something else. But yeah, this show is pretty good. I recommend it, and I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Not a lot worse, but I thought it was just going to be fine. It was a lot better than I expected it to be, and I'm looking forward to watching the future.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm hoping to actually progress further with this and actually get maybe 2 or 3 seasons with it.
Yeah, I hope they don't
overkill it.
Yeah, they don't overdo it. Like they did that with Smallville,
Well, they did that with Flash and Arrow.
Yeah,
they're doing it with all this CW shows. They're extending it. Like Legends of Tomorrow should have ended season 3 or 4 to me.
Yeah.
But they're still continuing on season 6 or 7. It's like, what the don't do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. If they end it in like 3 seasons, I would say at most 5, that would be perfect. I would be fully for that. But if they go
Are you speaking off of personal, like personal reason because of Smallville, you left at season 5?
Well, I mean, I think that comes with most shows, like Breaking Bad. They ended at the 5th season. Like if they did it before, it would have been overkill, and it would have been.
I couldn't. If they did that Breaking Bad, I wouldn't be able to take the wipe for another season.
They could have, but they ended at the perfect point, because they had a complete story that they wanted to tell. You could tell when shows are prolonged and they already told the story that they wanted to tell, but they're just doing it because of the ratings. that it loses its energy. It loses its synergy. What it's doing. You're kind of frozen, Matt.
You are too.
Oh, okay.
We're both frozen.
Yeah, but I forget what I was saying. But yeah, with Smallville, they did that. They kind of continued it on long after it should have ended. I think it should have ended on season 5. Season 6 was still good, but I think season 5 was when they should have ended that show. So I hope they don't do that. Matt's gone again. So I hope they don't do that with this show. I hope they end it off at season 3 or season 5 at the most. Matt, can you join back? So we could close this out. Well, we're gonna wait for Matt. But yeah, let us know what you think of the Superman and Lois down in the comments below. We'd be very curious to what your thoughts are, and how do you feel about this Superman? What's his name? Tyler Hoechlin. I'm probably saying his last name wrong. Do you think he's too short? I think he's a little too short, but I think he's still, I think his acting is, one over, so I could look past that. And how do you feel about reboot of Superman? Do you think that's a good idea? I think it's okay. I think people are expecting me to be more adamant, like more
against it,
but I'm not. As long as J.J. Abrams doesn't write it, I'll be okay. Because he wrote all like the Star Trek movies and the Star Wars movies that he wrote aren't very good. I think he's an adequate director. I don't think he's a good writer. So we'll see. I hope Superman's Superman and not someone else.
That's a simple way of saying it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts before we close this out?
Thoughts? Well, no. Everything I basically need to say was a thing. Well, I'll give you a thing, like a advice. If you're gonna put Wi-Fi up for a house, don't put it on the top of your barn.
Oh, yeah! Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Second story of your barn.
Where it's story on a raptor, hanging there,
like far off of reach, where no one could possibly reach it.
You have to hover to do it.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Thanks, Clark.
It was dumb. I mean, whatever. It's fine, but yeah, that's a stupid place to put a router. Don't do that. Yeah, but I think we're ready to sign off on this episode. So that was Lois and Superman and Lois and Harley Quinn animated series pilots.
Yep.
2 pilots. So okay, 3, 2, 1. We're just gonna swing into this. All right. This is Josh from BatYard Productions sending you off up and away until next BatYard's finest episode.
And this is Superman's pal Matt, becoming super friends, 1 episode at a time.
Holy shit, we fucking did it! One take wonder right there. All right, guys, have a good night. Be safe. Do
your thing.
Have a super day or weekend.
Have a super Friday weekend.
Have a super Friday weekend. All right, I'm gonna go now. Good night.
All right, good night.